Next section, subsection would be the purpose of the marriage. There are three, of course, as you know, this is a fulfillment of kind of sexual love, or the multiplication. And this is just known as usual, but what we're discussing isn't that kind of direction, but much deeper insight of the purpose of marriage. Actually, three purpose of marriage. One is the mutual perfection. Mutual perfection. This means a man will perfect woman and will be perfected by woman. And also, woman have to perfect man, and must be perfected by man. That's why without man, woman cannot fulfill the purpose of life, and without woman, man also cannot fulfill the purpose of life. This is the meaning of the mutual perfection. And second point is the to occupy the love of God, to occupational love of God. This is the second purpose. And third purpose will be the perfection of God. It's just an unthinkable topic. No? Conclusion is, it's not man, it's not God, but man who perfect God. Perfection of God, it's an unthinkable concept. Don't bring this kind of concept to the Russian Orthodox Church. First one, the mutual perfection. Mutual perfection. Where to write? Nowhere to write. Very persistent. What is the perfection of man? According to the understanding by the Divine Principle book, the perfection of man is unity with God. But what's the contents of unity with God? But actually, perfection of man is a perfection of love. Then what is the perfection of love? The perfection of love is the inseparable unification or unity of descending love from God and ascending love from man. If in this case, if it happens, there will be no separation between God and man, because nothing can destroy love. This is the meaning of the perfection of man. But before going into that explanation, I need some preparation of the explanation. First of all, God has masculinity and femininity. Say, masculinity and femininity within God. God's masculinity and God's femininity. Feminine God, masculine God, and feminine God. Then man was made after the image of God. But if you can find a wonderful man here, substantial man, if you can find one substantial man who is perfect. But this perfected man cannot be the full manifestation of God himself. Only half, the partial manifestation of God himself. As you know, Jesus mentioned in book of John that he who has seen me had seen Father. He who had seen me had seen Father. But God, who revealed himself through Jesus, must have been the only partial God. 50% of God was shown through the manifestation, through Jesus. Through Jesus. Only 50%. That's why when you see Jesus, you can see only 50% of God. Half. This is the reason Jesus needed another half as his bride. Only through unity between Jesus and his bride, it is supposed to be possible to be the 100% manifestation of nature of God. Therefore, if Adam and Eve didn't fall and formed the unity between Adam and Eve in the form of marriage, then they must have been the perfect manifestation of God himself. In other words, perfect mirror of God. Therefore, through the reflection of that mirror, God must have been able to see his own image right there in Adam and Eve. Then, if it's the case, God must have felt the great stimulation stimulation, and joy to see his own image in man, in the married Adam and Eve. That must have been the greatest joy of God. Because as I mentioned, God cannot experience his own greatness only by himself. Only through the projection or manifestation of himself in the form of human being, it is possible for God to experience such a joy of experiencing his own nature. Therefore, God will go crazy for Adam and Eve. And he gives the utmost love to Adam and Eve, true love. Or 100% love, whatever you may say. Highest love is given to Adam and Eve. Then this love is the strongest in the universe. Therefore, there will be nothing to destroy the love between God and man this way. Then if so, upon the foundation of unity between Adam and Eve, maybe better to say this Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve. In other words, this unity between Adam and Eve is expressed as horizontal. And on the contrary, love from God to man can be expressed as vertical. As vertical. Then based on the foundation of this horizontal love, the vertical love will be given to man. Then there must be the cross-section. There must be the cross-section of vertical love and horizontal love and vertical love. This point is a point of the first love between Adam and Eve. This cross-section and the degree, the angle of cross-section must be 90 degrees. Perfectly 90 degrees. This is actually really important point, and also Father himself had a hard time to find out this one point. To find out this one point. Why have you ever heard? Did you hear these kind of contents of the four great realm hearts? Did you receive the lecture or not yet? First time or? First time? No? Eh? What? In the book, you know. No lecture? Is there anyone who heard this content by a lecture or something? Very few. From whom? Okay. And who else? Who said? There's some sister around here. Who? From whom? Who? And who? Somewhere sister, no? Eh? Who is he? Okay. But most of you didn't hear yet. This is first time. So, okay, this is actually not so easy point, but maybe I can explain. Father talks usually, 90 degree, 90 degree, 90 degrees. I heard 100 times. Very difficult to understand why 90 degree. Then finally, one day Father explained in detail. Actually, what should I do? Should I give you a complication or no complication? Eh? Understandable complication, that's a hard request. The father was, Father found out God and found out the relationship between God and man as father-son relationship, But then love between God and man must be the center of the universe. Then where should love of God and love of man come together? Love of God come from above, and love of man come from under, and must shake hands with each other. God's love and man's love must shake hands with each other and must come together inseparably. Then no separation from God is possible. This is the perfection of man. Then where to shake hand? Where? What is this unifying point of love of God and love of man? What is the location of that unifying point? That's what Father has been looking for a long time. Where? And this point must be only one point between God and man, because it has multiple points of the unity between God and man. Then love must be separated. Do you understand what I mean? Okay, children's love should be perfected here, and brother-sister love is perfected here, and conjugal love could be perfected here, and parental love should be perfected here. If love is fulfilled or perfected here and there and here and there between God and man, then love will be separated. This is contradictory to the nature of love. Therefore, the unifying point of love of God and love of man must be only one point. Do you follow? Is okay? Okay, at one point. Then where does it locate? What is the location of that one point? That's what the Father has been looking for many, many years. And after a lot of prayer, God came to Father and said that love goes shortest cut course. Shortcut course. Straight. Then what does that mean? Actually, this love between Adam and Eve can be considered perfectly horizontal. Then love from God must be vertical. Then what could be the shortcut course? Must be, if this love goes this direction, what do you mean? It's not shortcut course. The shortcut course must go this way and must cross with horizontal love with 90 degrees. Do you understand? Shortcut course must, in order to cross horizontal love and vertical love, for these two loves, no. For this vertical love to go the shortcut course, then that love must cross the horizontal love perpendicularly. Is okay? Is okay? That's why this must be 90 degrees. And the Father talked his own experience when he was watching TV. He really was happy with this. When he was watching TV, then in America, and soldiers coming back from Gulf War. And the young and beautiful wife was waiting for his coming back on the deck of the port where the boat was coming in. Then while she was waiting, she was so polite with relatives and friends around her. She was dressed well, she was dressed well, and so polite, and so kind to the people around her. But as soon as one man appeared over there with dirty clothes and hair a mess, with beard, with dirty smell because didn't take bath long time in the desert. That man appeared over there. The next moment, this polite young lady just pushing everyone around, pushing everyone around, dashed toward that man and jumped up to him. To see that, Father understood love goes shortcut course. no more politeness. She didn't care who was around, you know, the in-laws and brothers, sisters, and friends. She didn't care. Just pushing around, just dash towards. Yeah, love goes shortcut course. It's true. He really understood. That's the father's testimony. That's why this means, what is this central point? This must be the point where the first love is experienced. That must be the place where the conjugal love is consummated. That's the place where love of God comes in. Wow. Then if love of God comes in, so this love is nothing can destroy this love, then actually God himself will come in just right here, come into this place. And then, in other words, this place where the first love is consummated. In other words, the place where the concave and convex are totally united with quivering joy of happiness. That's where God comes in. And that's where God dwells. Then that place must be the dwelling place of God. Does he live there or not? How do you think? Once it happens, does God go away from that place, or he never go away? Never goes away. How do you think? How do you think? Give me answer. Never. Never. Then this place must be God's permanent dwelling place. Therefore, this place must be the temple of God. This place must be the temple of God. Therefore, God is living there. God would be, if man didn't fall, if man, Adam and Eve didn't fall, God was supposed to be living there, that place. But what happened at the time of fall? Actually, where God was supposed to be living, Satan invaded. Satan took over that place. The central part of love was taken by Satan. God's dwelling place became the Satan's dwelling place. This is the meaning of the fall of man. Therefore, God was kicked out. God has no place to live, to stay. And God became homeless, hanging around the world. God had no place to stay. Do you have homeless people in Russia? if you see the homeless people, that's a God situation. God has been homeless tens of thousands of years. Then someone came and who understood God's situation to some extent and built a little house for God. That's a tabernacle or a temple. Even Roman Catholic Church are like a prefabricated house. Russian Orthodox cathedrals are like a fabricated house. It shouldn't be God's permanent dwelling place. Because God couldn't find the right place to live. Inevitably, God is just staying there temporarily. Still, God's real desire is to come back to that temple of God, the secret temple of God between God, man, and woman. That's a place where God should come back. Therefore, purpose of restoration is to invite God back to that place through your marriage, through your blessing, through your marriage. That's the purpose of restoration. But blessing is not enough. Therefore, after the blessing, you have to fulfill the tribal messiahship. And only through the fulfilling of tribal messiahship, you can get into direct dominion God, where you can receive one more blessing, and your blessing will be completed. And then when you fulfill the purpose of life, then now God will come back to your secret place, and God will live with you forever. That's the purpose of restoration. This content is a little different from the Divine Principle book. That's why, actually, these contents are totally different chapter of the Father's message. Eventually, sooner or later, you have to have clear understanding toward that direction. But as of now, we are making the foundation for that. This is the meaning of this. That's why this is where God dwells. This must be. Maybe before that, say. In other words, this means that where Adam and Eve become one by love, God comes in and dwells. If it is the case, this place must be the temple of God, as I mentioned, and also must be and also we can call as the Holy of the Holies. Holy of the Holies. Do you know the Holy of the Holies? Holy of the Holies. In the temple or tabernacle, at the time, for instance, in tabernacle at the time of Moses, there is an altar. This is a holy place. This side is holy. This is a holy place. And this is open to the public. This place is open. And this place is open to the public. And anyone can come in freely, and you can make offering. You can make offering of sacrifice, a sheep, or a dove, or even vegetables. This is like in case of a human body, this is like face. Then you can communicate with anyone freely through your face. And you can do the conversation, and you can communicate with everyone, anyone. But on the other hand, behind the scene, there is off-limits place. This side is called the Holy of the Holies. Holy of the Holies, or the most holy place. Do you know what's inside? Do you know what's inside? Eh? Ark of Covenant. This is called the Ark of Covenant. The inside Ark of Covenant, what's R? What's R? Two tablets of Moses. Now, you know, when Moses received the 10 Commandments on the Mount Sinai, this Mount Sinai, God inscribed the 10 Commandments. First one 4, second one 6. Well, one is saying that this is my vertical contents after 10 Commandments. The first 4 are the vertical, you know. Then only one God, and don't make a false God, and then something like that. Then the Sabbath, many things. And then here says respect the parents, and say don't kill, you shall not kill, you shall not commit adultery, you shall not steal, something like that. This is actually this is a symbolic expression of coming Jesus. Jesus and the Holy Spirit. This means man and woman. Actually, this is a man and woman relationship. It is hidden behind the scene and shouldn't be open to the public at all. Shouldn't be open to the public at all. And God can speak to, and also here, anyone can come in, but here, only one person is allowed to go in. Only one person is allowed to go in. He is called a priest. Only one priest who is a living representative God or a living God, true man, sinless man, actually means a representative of the sinless man, can come in. And God can speak through this point, this central point, God can speak through this point. This place is called the mercy seat. Mercy seat. That God can speak to the priest through the mercy seat. This means the same as when a man and a woman become totally one, that's where God can come in. God can come in and speak to man. It's exactly the same. This is the meaning of the Holy of the Holies. Therefore, for instance, this, in case of the woman's body, you can communicate with anyone through your face. But on the other hand, there must be a hidden place here where you can have deep communication with God and where God can come in and contact with you. That's where only one man can come in, whose name is what? What is that person's name? Who is your priest? In case of woman. Husband. Only one person. Only one husband can come in. No one else. For other person, completely should be completely off the limits. Off limits. That's why the key to open this secret place must be only one key, okay? It's very important. And that key should be given only to the man called the husband. But actually, honestly speaking, must be only to the blessed husband. Because husband without original sin, that man is the only man who can come into the secret place of your Holy of the Holies. That's why only one key should be given to him. Don't make copy, okay? There's some woman who makes many copies and sells on the street and make money and invite in. That's called prostitution, prostitute. This means actually, it's the same. In other words, when sexuality is allowed between man and woman, this is a place where God dwells. Therefore, sexuality must be deeply connected with God. Where sexuality exists, God must be there together. In other words, without the presence of God, no sexuality is allowed. That's a very important understanding. I repeat, okay? Without the presence of God, no sexuality is allowed. Thousands of years, no one understood this one point. People didn't understand. Churches didn't understand. Even Christianity didn't understand at all. This is the first time that our true parents found this secret. Why sexuality must be sacred. Sexuality, this is the reason why sexuality is sacred. Therefore, without the presence of God, you cannot have any sexual relationship. This means without blessing from God, you cannot have any sexual relationship. If you have sexual relationship without the presence or blessing of God, it is against God's will, it is a sin. One, when your children's love or brother sister's love are so immature, you are not qualified to have any sexual relationship. Because God cannot reach there. This is an issue of the teenage pregnancies. And also, sexuality must be committed. Commitment is necessary. The sexuality should be committed between only two persons, one man and one woman, called husband and wife, throughout the entire life. This is God's blessing. Therefore, without blessing of God, without presence of God, any sexuality will be prohibited. That's a fundamental principle of life. There's four loves, of course, we are talking about. In case, in terms of children's love, okay, I'll ask one question. If you love someone who are not your parents, as you love your parents, it's okay or not? Is it okay or not okay? That's okay. Then if you love someone else more than your parents, is okay or better or worse? Better. Even, of course you love your parents, but you love someone else more than parents. It's a bad thing or good thing? Good. Then if you love someone who are not your brothers and sisters, as you love brothers and sisters, is it okay? Then if you love them more than your brothers and sisters, how do you think? Still even better. Then if you love some children who are not your children, own children, is good or not? It's good, wonderful person. Then if you love other children, even more, of course love your own children, but even more than your children, is it bad or good? It's better. Then how do you think? Then this is the point. If you love some man who is not your husband, just like you love your husband, is it okay or not? That makes trouble. Then how do you think? if you love that man who is not your husband, more than your husband, love more than your husband, love that man more than your husband, and kicking your husband out and dashing toward that man, how do you think? It's terrible. Then out of four loves is three primary colors in the field of colors. Through the combination of three primary colors, you can create any kind of a color. Likewise, we can say we have four primary loves. The society is a combination of these loves. Four primary loves, you can say. No? But out of four, it's only sexual love by which you may make a mistake of life. You may make a mistake of true way of life. That's sexual love. That's why if there is a limitation or a commandment toward love, if God says, don't love, this commandment should be only for the sake of the sexual love, to prevent sexual love from mistake. Then you can understand the meaning of the, of chapter 2. Therefore, this, how to control this sexual love should be the most fundamental ethics of our life. Therefore, in order to be the wonderful person, and in order to develop the wonderful family life, pure and joyful and happy family life, you have to have total, perfect control over this sexual love throughout the entire life. That's the meaning of ethical life. Otherwise, there's no limitation love in this world. That's why violation of sexual love is become the most serious issue in our society. It's happening in America so severely. It's happening in Japan too. It's happening in Korea. It's happening surely in Russia too. Violation of sexual love must be the most crucial, serious issue of world of ethics. Therefore, to become the wonderful person means to become the person who can have right control over this sexual love. It's okay? That's why we should have clear understanding. Without the presence of God, no sexual relationship. Without blessing of God, no sexual relationship. With this clear understanding, this should be the most fundamental core understanding of our movement. That's why Women's Federation for World Peace must have clear understanding of this point. And also other organizations of our movement, of course, Unification Church itself should have clear understanding about this issue. The preciousness, and the importance of the sexual love. But still, I didn't reach how precious the sexual love is, how important sexual love is. But in the afternoon lecture, I will continue, because this is really important. Okay, thank you. We're talking about the mutual perfection. And especially we talked about the preciousness or sacredity of the sexualities. And then what is the connection between that preciousness of sexuality and the perfection of man? As I mentioned already, perfection of man is the perfection of love. Perfection of man is a perfection of love. Then what is the perfection of love? The perfection of love is the unification or unity between love from God and love from man. The unity between the descending love from God and ascending love from man. The union must be made in one point, not 2, 3, or 4. Must be just one point. Then that just the point is the place where man and woman can experience the first love, the joy and the happiness of first love. That's a place where the love of God and love of man can become one. Then that place must be the place where man should be perfected. Man should be perfected. If so, but as we discussed already, there are 4 kinds of loves. Actually, we discussed 3, but actually we have 4 loves. Then out of 4 loves, just wait. Then when man and woman, Adam and Eve became one. This is a place where God comes down and meet with love of God, love of man. Then, out of 4 loves, which love goes first? Which love goes first toward God? Out of 4, which goes first? Right, children love. Therefore, first of all, when love of God comes down from heaven, then the first one must be pretty stubborn. Okay. The first love to ascend toward the love of God must be the children's love. Then which love follows the first? Which is second love to reach God? Must be brother sister's love. Brother and sister love. If so, first, this is a very important point, okay? The first love or marriage must come first. Then love of God will descend here. Then first love can reach, because this must be only one point, Therefore, must go to the place where God comes down. Therefore, first love, children's love must see or must meet with love of God at a point where the first love between man and woman is fulfilled. Then love comes down here, then love goes up here, and this is a place where children's love and love of God can unite into one. Then this means this is a place where the children's love is fulfilled or perfected. Then man is perfected as a child of God. As a child of God. Then next, this love follows. Then brother-sister love also must meet with love of God, which came down here. Therefore, this goes here and become one with love of God. Therefore, the brother-sister love also will be perfected here. Therefore, man is perfected as brothers and sisters also here, upon the foundation of the marriage. Then next, what love follows next? Number 3, love, what that? What is number 3 love? Conjugal love. Conjugal love will go up and will meet at this point. Then here, the conjugal love is perfected. Then that moment, man and woman can be perfected as husband or wife. Husband or wife. Therefore, the first marriage, then children's love is perfected, and perfected as children of God, then perfected as brother and sister, then perfected as husband and wife. Then this will be followed by the final one. This is parental. Parental love. This way. All 4 loves will meet with love of God at one point where God comes down. This is where the first love between man and woman is performed. This is a place where eventually 4 loves are perfected. This means man is perfected as a child of God, as brothers and sisters, as husband and wife, and finally as parents. Then this must be the place where these four loves. This is the perfection of four loves. This means four great realms of heart. Then man has, as I mentioned, man's love consists of four loves: children's love, brother-sister love, conjugal love, and parental love. And all four loves is now became one with love of God. Therefore, these four loves are perfected. Therefore, this is how man is perfected. Man is perfected as man, and woman is perfected as woman. This is the perfection of man. This is the perfection of man. Then if so, without marriage between man and woman, is it possible for man to fulfill four loves and to become perfected? Yes or no? No. It's the same with woman. Is okay? Can you follow? Then, without marriage, there will be no perfection of man. Nothing is perfected. No love is perfected. Therefore, the marriage must be the foundation upon which man is perfected in love. Therefore, for man, without wife, is it possible to be perfected? No. For woman, is it possible for her to be perfected without husband? Then so, man is making wife perfect, and is perfected by the husband. And husband is making wife perfect, and is made perfect by wife. This is the meaning of the mutual perfection. Therefore, this is one of the purpose of marriage. We didn't understand, no one understood this point until now. Without marriage, purpose life would never be fulfilled. Nothing would be perfected, no love would be perfected. Without the perfection of love, no perfection of man. Therefore, for the purpose of perfection of man, marriage is indispensable. Indispensable. Absolutely indispensable. Is marriage necessary or not? Is marriage necessary or not? then you will understand man was born for the sake of woman, and woman was born for the sake of man. The link between two must be love. That's why we are born to love each other. Man is born to love woman. Woman was born love to man. Man and woman are born to love each other, to become totally one, perfect oneness. That's a place where four loves are accomplished. Actually, this is actually perfection of perfection of man is a fulfillment of the fulfillment to the meant of purpose life. This is a fulfillment of the purpose life. This is a meaning, this is true happiness. Yes, this is a true happiness. Aren't you looking for true happiness? Yes or no? Do you know where true happiness was in the past? Where can you find the happiness? We have been looking for happiness. Where is happiness? And also, aren't you looking for the eternal happiness? Surely so. Must be the eternal happiness. But is this happiness, and could this happiness be broken? Any possibility of a breakdown of this happiness? Why not? How can I say that? Because these four loves are united with God's love. That's why this will never be broken by any force. Even death cannot break this linkage. Therefore, this is the reason, because this love will never be broken. And through love, you can unite into one. Happiness, to be happy means to be one. That's why this happiness will never be broken forever. Once it is made. Therefore, this is where the true happiness and the eternal happiness will be accomplished. We have been looking for true happiness, eternal happiness, throughout our entire life. Young people are looking for happiness. Even the old people, old grandma, who are sitting in the bus or in the subway, or selling something to eat, or some bananas, or some oranges, or some apples on the street. Old ladies, getting older and older, become 60s, 70s, or even more. But still, do you think they found out true happiness like that? They also must have been looking for happiness, but they don't know where is true happiness. Can you find true happiness over the mountain? Even you go over the mountain, far away, you can find only snow and ice, which is cold. You cannot find true happiness in such a place, because true happiness resided here. Unless you find this one point in your life, you'll never gain the eternal happiness. This is where man and woman become one with such a joy, of the quivering joy. That's where you can find true happiness. The struggle of man, or suffering of man, was caused because they couldn't find this one point throughout the entire life. Therefore, purpose of our life also must to find out this one place in our life. This is the purpose of our life. This is the true happiness. Therefore, we call this center the settling point, or what is the best expression? Settling point, setting point, settling point, settling. Settling point of the four great realms of hearts. 연달 신조の定着点ね。四大心情の定着点。Our purpose life is to find out this one point, the settling point of the four great realms of hearts. Number two, the three, no, small. This is the occupying the heart of God. Occupying the heart of God. Since when man and woman became one through the first love, then God comes down here. Love of God comes down here. Then, of course, then God himself will come down here and he will dwell right here. Then actually, this way, from God's eye, actually God is embracing Adam and Eve, man and woman, completely, inseparably. But from the point of view of man, now Adam and Eve, man, actually, they now captured God, because God cannot leave them anymore. Cannot, because of love. That's why they got the heart of God. They are occupying the heart of God. And it became impossible for God to leave them. Therefore, actually, they captured God. God was captivated. Then how great it is that wherever you go, God will be right there with you because God cannot leave you. If God cannot leave you, whatever He owns will be given you. If you love someone, don't you think, do you feel like giving something precious to that person? Yes or no? If you have maybe 10,000 ruble worth, then you will give something which costs 10,000 ruble. But if you love that person more than your own life, how do you think? You can give all you have. You feel like giving all you have, and you feel, I want to give more and more and more, but I don't have any more. Don't you think it's that a feeling of God? Therefore, if man and woman become one, totally one, and fulfill the purpose of life, then God comes down, He goes crazy for you, and out of love, He wants to give to you all He has. Then what does mean all He has? Must be the entire creation, entire universe. Therefore, He wants to give the entire universe to Adam and Eve. This is the true meaning of the third blessing. This is the true meaning of the third blessing. Then the genuine, true ownership will be decided. Therefore, in that sense, the ownership which now owns is not true ownership yet. It's not approved by God yet. It's just a temporary ownership. This is the reason in the future, this ownership must be given back to God first by faith and free will. Then, when you fulfill these contents of four loves, then next God will redistribute or will give back His ownership to you. Then that ownership will be the eternal ownership which is blessed by God. This is the true meaning of the third blessing. Therefore, third blessing must come after the fulfillment of the four great realm of hearts. Actually, someday we have to go more in detail this kind of aspect. Then you can really understand how to deal with, creation, money, land, or this kind of properties, these kind of things. How these things should be dealt with will be understood much more clearly. The number 3, this is the perfection of God. Perfection of God. Perfection of God. It's such a thing was never heard of in the past. But in order to understand this concept, we must understand the concept of growth of God. God also must grow. It's kind of strange. But, in terms of, in terms of, what to say? Anyway, in terms of God's having all within himself, there will be no difference between the Christian concept of God and our concept of God. Nevertheless, what we are saying here, that God has to grow, means that God has to grow in terms of experience. In terms of experience, or in terms of substantiation. Because God cannot be God just by himself, because God cannot experience anything else. Therefore, whatever quality God may have within himself, that specific quality cannot be experienced by God only through man, which is object of God, perfect object of God. Therefore, God's quality, nature of God, will be experienced by God through Adam and Eve, through man. That's why only when man can experience, that will become God's experience. Therefore, to the extent man grows, God can grow in that sense. If it is the case, if this is the case, do you think in the nature of God, is there any nature of babyhood? Do you understand what I mean? There must be the nature of baby. There must be the nature of a little baby which is just born and giving the first cry. But that nature was within God, invisible nature was within God, but only through the first cry of Adam and Eve, God can experience that nature substantially. Then God can go through that aspect of life. invisible God is actually beyond space and time. Nevertheless, in terms of the experience of God, when Adam was born, God was born, in true sense. And Adam was sucking milk. That time God experienced the same thing. When Adam was, pushing down the rock from the top of the mountain, that time God has same experience. And when Adam shouted out because of joy, because crushing everything, that time God felt the same way, experienced same thing. That especially masculine God had that experience. Masculine side of God experienced that way. And when the little girl, Eve, was picking up the little flowers, the feminine aspect of God was picking up little flowers as experience, and making a necklace or some ornament. That's the time God had also same experience. The feminine God had the same experience. This is how God himself went through the childhood, through experience. And as Adam and Eve matured and matured and came to the point of the first love between Adam and Eve. That's the moment actually God experienced the conjugal love as a substantial experience. Substantially. If this is a case, when Adam and Eve, without sin, when pure Adam and Eve married, just in case, if pure Adam and pure Eve married, that marriage should be the simultaneously whose marriage do you think was it? Whose love? Whose marriage? God's marriage. Therefore, only through marriage of Adam and Eve, it was possible for God to experience the marital love, the joy of marital love substantially. Therefore, without marriage of pure and sinless Adam and Eve, God never had the experience of marital love. God, only when Adam and Eve experienced the quivering joy of love between husband and wife, that moment God himself also had the experience of quivering joy, first time in his life. Then, in the past, was there any chance for God to get married? At the time of Jesus, was it possible for God to marry? Yes or no? Then when God experienced the true marriage? 1960, right. That's the time that God was able to marry first time. Then what true parents, filial son and daughter? Surely they are the most filial son and daughter who made God happy, who gave the experience of marital love first time in the history of creation. Therefore, even in your case, through the blessing, the marriage life begins. Then, through your marriage life, God can also experience the same joy one more time. This is the reason the marriage life should be so precious. Therefore, how to develop the beautiful relationship between husband and wife must be so important and so precious. Because through that relationship, you can make God so happy. That's the meaning of the marriage life of the blessed family. Because other marriage of the fallen world have nothing to do with marriage of God. Because their sexuality have nothing to do with God. This is the reason Father is giving some very special talk about the beautification of the marital love. Someday you may get the information about that. Someday. How the wife should prepare for the coming back of husband. How should the husband prepare to please wife? What kind of preparation? Preparation of bedroom, preparation of how to take care of husband when husband came back from outside. How to deal with dirty smelling socks. This kind of things. What kind of cotton, what kind of lamp, what kind of preparation for the love, that kind of content will be Father explained in detail. Because Father said, as parent, as father, he has to teach the children how to make God happy. Then, when Adam and Eve fulfilled the marital love and have children, and finally, Adam and Eve fulfilled the four great realm of hearts, and fulfilled the four loves, and were perfected. That moment, God also will be perfect, but will be perfected. Only when Adam and Eve, man and woman, fulfill the purpose of life, that moment God will be perfected substantially. In other words, God's nature, God's Son and Shunsan, his content will be perfectly substantiated through the experience. That moment, God will be perfected. Therefore, in this sense, when man is perfected, God is perfected. Therefore, it's not God, but man who perfect God. It's not God, but man who perfect God. That's a conclusion. What should I do? Became almost impossible, time-wise. They're still halfway. It is a section, not I don't know. Three, how do you say? Not three kingship, doesn't come to that point yet. Far away from that. Three. Original? That's temple? He attended my workshop before. Already he knows. Last year, I had the chance to talk about this point to the graduate of the UTS. That time, he was there. The three original temple, but actually, because since I didn't talk this content in English 1 year, and also even that time still, and after several years without speaking English, it wasn't so easy. But having same difficult time to explain in English. But I believe translation must be better than my English. That's why you can understand it better. But anyway, three original temple. The number one, original temple. This is talking about same point, okay? Talking about the same point from beginning to the end, nothing else. This is also original temple of true love. This original temple means that you can say the beginning point or starting point. Like, for the Catholic Church, the St. Peter Cathedral in Rome is a starting point of the Catholic, it's the original temple. All other branches. Kind of this kind of meaning. This kind of meaning. Therefore, actually, this is the starting point of the true love. True love begins with this one point. We have four loves: children's love, brother-sister love, conjugal love, and parental love. But these four love also must be true. To be true means in line with God. In other words, love must be, connected with God. If not connected with God, it's false. False love is not connected with God, nothing to do with God. When Adam and Eve loved each other, was that love connected with God or not? Yes or no? No, not connected. In other words, against God's will. Loved each other against God's will. This is false. That's false love. But if Adam didn't fall, then love between Adam and Eve must be where God comes in and dwells there. That's why no separation from God. That's a true love. Do you understand what's the true love? What's the false love? Then this must be the starting point of the true love. True children's love, true brother-sister love, true conjugal love, and true parental love. All true loves starts from this one point. Because as we discussed already, children's love come up here, and love of God come down here and unite into one, and there will be no more separation, and the children's love will be perfected here. That's why the true children's love will begin from this one point. Likewise, true brother-sister love will begin from this one point. Then true conjugal love will begin from this one point, and true parental love will begin from this one point. Therefore, this one point must be the beginning point or origin of the true love. In other words, this is the original temple of true love. That's why until you have come up to this one point, there will be no true love in this universe. We can talk about true love, but only when you have come up to this one point, true love will be completed. Therefore, actually only true parents experience this point. Well, only true parents accomplish this one point. Therefore, only true parents have true love in true sense. But we can talk about true love, but substantially far away. We don't have yet. We don't have true love yet. But we can talk about that. We're talking about, not experiencing yet. The number 2, small 2, this is the original temple of true life. The same point, this point, is a beginning point of the true life. What is true life? Then what is false life? There are thousands and millions of people living, maybe almost 10 million people living in Moscow. I don't know, 10 or 8 million? 9 million? 9 million people are living in Moscow. Are they? No. Are their lives the true or false? in true sense. Unfortunately, it's not true love. No, true life. Do you know why? If Adam Eve, we should have clear understanding, okay? If Adam didn't fall, the love between Adam and Eve must have been pure and be connected with God, therefore must have been true love. Therefore, when the children was born from that marriage, must be accepted by God. It's understandable? Then, in other words, that life is connected with God, approved by God. And God says, oh, they are my sons and daughters, or grandsons and granddaughters, whatever. Then their lives will be accepted and approved by God. Then that the life is alive. It's true life. But actually, in actuality, Adam and Eve loved each other and had children, but their love has nothing to do with God. Therefore, their children have nothing to do with God. Therefore, God says, I don't know them. I have nothing to do with these people. They are Satan's children, not mine. That's why I have nothing to do with them. If so, the lives are not true, false life. Therefore, millions, a billion people living right here on this world, in this world, but most of the lives have nothing to do with God's approval. Therefore, God says, I don't know them. This is the reality of this world. That's a false. But if man did not fall, actually, Adam must be the children of God. Their children also must be children of God. Also, grandchildren or descendants, entire descendants in the world must have been the children of God. That's a true life. Therefore, this is the beginning point. This is the beginning point of true life. Therefore, must be the original temple of the true life. Then through love between Adam and Eve, maybe, let's see. New life come children. This means child. Then actually children participated in the very secret love relationship between father and mother. Children are outcome of the unity of love and blood between husband and wife. Therefore, children inherited everything from parents, inseparably. Children participated in that secret union of father and mother. It's okay? This is a reason children inherited both aspects from father and mother. Both aspects. Or both natures. Then if this is a reason, for instance, in case the child is dying because of a disease or something like that, and how does mother feel? When they're almost dying, mother feels, oh, Heavenly Father, please, if possible, please let me die, if only my son can survive. Couldn't that be the prayer of mother? Why? Why mother feels this way? Because the child is a unified body or unified existence of father and mother. That's why child must be bigger or even more precious than mother herself. That's a mother's feeling. Therefore, even at the sacrifice of her own life, she wants to save her own son. It is the same with father too. Then how to think? If father and mother both die together, then the little boy can be saved. In that case, how do the parent, father, mother think? The father and mother discussing together. Yeah, but if we can survive as husband and wife, then we still have hope to be able to have another children. That's why just this case, let my little boy die. Do you think that do parents discuss this way and decide to let the little boy die? Yes or no? Cannot do that. Even both died. If the child is saved, parents will prefer to do so. Do you know why? Do you know why? Because in that little baby boy, there is the nature of parent, nature of father and mother both. That's why as precious as parents, but child represents the future, and parents represent the past. Therefore, past should be sacrificed for the sake of the future. This is the principle. This is the reason parents feel that at the price of the lives of father and mother both, they really want to save one little baby's life. This is the reason. So look, when flowers bloom and seed or fruits is born, can bear the fruits, and fruits fall down, then sometimes the parents, that grass or something, even tree dies and become the fertilizer for the next generation. Especially father is so inspired by the salmon in Alaska. Especially when salmon lay eggs late fall season. It is almost, of course, as cold as Russia. In September or October, then even the little baby salmon appears. There is nothing to eat. Then do you know on what do they live? Parents. The parent dies, and eating the meat of the parents, they live. Father, watching these facts, was so moved. Simon must be a teacher of our life. For the sake of that coming generation, we should sacrifice ourselves so that the future could be much better than the present. Also, from children's side, children think that parents are origin, children are effect. Therefore, cause is more precious than the effect. Therefore, at the price of life, I really want to protect my parents. That also should be the feeling of the children. For instance, Hunjinim actually sacrificed his own life to protect true father. Therefore, parents is ready to give life for the sake of the children, and children are ready to give life for the sake of parents. That's life-to-life relationship should be the genuine and sincere relationship between parents and children. This is how true life begins, from this one point. And the succession of that link, that kind of link is called the lineage, like chain. Chain, one chain is connected this way. Like chain. Chain of the parents, children, grandchildren, grandchildren, this. This is called a lineage. This is called a lineage. Therefore, this lineage, therefore this point must be also the beginning point of the true lineage. This means lineage which is approved by God. Heavenly lineage, the true lineage. Therefore, this lineage begin from this one point, same point of Adam and Eve. Therefore, this point also must be, number 3, must be the original temple of true lineage. Original temple of true lineage. Therefore, this one point is the original temple of true love, the beginning point of true love, true and eternal love, and the beginning point of the true and eternal life, and the beginning point of the true and eternal lineage, centered in God, God's love. This is the meaning of the original temple, 3 original temples. Then, did you hear the word of the heavenly tradition? Have you heard of the word, just word of the heavenly tradition? Did you hear or not? What is heavenly tradition? Oh, heavenly tradition, that's great. What the contents? I don't know. That could be the reality, but actually, these threes, in other words, the true love, true life, and true lineage. These three are altogether called the heavenly tradition. When we say the heavenly tradition, it means three as three. First, true love. Next, true life. And true lineage. That heavenly tradition should be kept throughout the entire history from now on. Until now, love was force, life was force, and lineage is the force. They must be changed into the true love, life, and lineage, and will be continued forever, and covering the entire world and the entire spirit world too. That's the meaning of heavenly tradition. Okay, this is the end of the conjugal love. The next, number 4 will be the parental love. That's why as I discussed already, this is the new life. New life comes. This means children. Then this would be the should be number 4. Number 4, the textbook. Textbook of parental love. Of course, parental love means love from parents to children. But in this case, maybe more practical story talk might be more easy to understand. Say there's one woman was walking on the street of the corner of the street in Moscow, and holding the hand of a little girl, who means her own daughter, maybe 3 years old, something like that, so cute. Then just she runs into the old friend or the schoolmate or classmate. And they're so happy because they didn't see these 4 or 5 years. Wow. It is your little daughter? Yes. Wow, so cute. Just incredible. It's no resemblance to the mom. And to hear that, is the mom happy or angry? Happy or unhappy? Eh? Unhappy? Huh? The daughter is saying, daughter is so beautiful, so cute and lovable. Then no resemblance to the mom. How do you think? Is mother happy or not? No? Happy or not happy? No? Or saying, okay, or your daughter is so beautiful, you know, much more than mom. Then does it make a mom unhappy or happy? That's why happy. Then if then how many times if how many times the daughter is more beautiful than the mother, can mother be satisfied? Is translation over? Is it okay? And how many times, if how many times the daughter is more beautiful than the mom, is mom satisfied completely? Twice? 3 times more? More. Have 10 times? 100 times? 10,000 times? The million times? Billion times? How greedy mom is. Mother's desire for daughter to be more beautiful than mother herself, that desire is unlimited. Wow. Why so? But actually, the friend is saying that, you know, daughter is so beautiful. But what is she saying that the mother is beautiful or not? Actually, if it is the same thing is told, you know, without daughter, directly, how does mother feel? She can sleep overnight. But with daughter, if she's told that she was not so beautiful, but she's okay, Then why so? Because this is the nature of love. When you love someone, you want that person be much better than yourself. 10 times, 100 times, million, billion times, or unlimitedly better than yourself. That's the nature of love. Then where did this nature of love come from? Where did this nature of love come from? This must have come from God. This is a reflection of God Himself. Therefore, as a reflection of God, when you have someone whom you love most, you cannot be selfish anymore. You are totally selfless. This selflessness by having your own children, you can experience the selfless love, totally selfless love. Total self. This is the reflection of God's love, directly connected with God's love. Therefore, by having your own children, you can experience the love of God. Selfless, unselfish love of God can be experienced through having your own children. This way, you can resemble God. You can resemble God. You can become like God. You can become the substantial. Substantial God. In other words, living God. Living God. Or a second God. You can become the second God. You can become the living God. Therefore, by loving your own children, you can embody, or you can embody the love of God, and you can become living God. This is the meaning of the parental love. Actually, maybe in the future, you may have your own baby, and will give the milk from your breast. That time, do you think you will put the, how many times you give the milk to your little baby? Do you put this number in your computer? And especially when you gave the milk night time, the price tag would be doubled. And also, do you think your mom remember how many times did she change your diaper? And especially she had to change the diaper night time. Maybe price also would be doubled. Price tag would be doubled. Then when the little boy become the young man and graduate the college or university and get job, and he gets the first salary, and so happy, and come back to home and show to mom. That moment, mom will show the bills. of the diaper, changing the diapers, and giving milk. Have you ever seen such a mother? Never. Mother's desire is only one. If only my son become a wonderful person, that's enough. Even she cannot remember how many times she gave milk, how many times she changed the diaper. She has no desire to keep the record and to ask the payment later. Nothing like that. Totally unselfish. This is the nature of God. Therefore, this is the reason Father says to love means to give and invest and forget. Cannot remember how much you gave, how much you invested. You can't remember. Just your hope is one thing. Your hope is just one for the sake of happiness of your object of love. Nothing else. This is the nature of love. Then parents, that when you have your own children, you can experience and embody the love of God. Okay? This way, of course, how to think which better, to have only one child or 7 children? Why? And God created only one Adam and only one Eve, no more than that. But you have 7 children, maybe 8 children, you are greater than God 4 times. 4 times greater than God, because you did what God couldn't do. That's why God will really admire you. It's true. The true mother had 14 children. That's why true mother is 7 times better than God. That's why that God surrendered to true mother completely. No way. That's why even it is difficult financially, it's not so bad to have many children. Then by loving the different kind of children, your heart will grow so great. That's why mother who had a lot of children, even though she didn't do anything else so much, but in the spiritual world, she is so high, because in terms of love, she is great. Close to God, because practice of parental love made her close to God, made her resemble God. This way, now, as discussed already, now this is the 1, 2, 3, now 4. This is the final one, This one, this one, this one, anyway. This one. This is the parental love. This way, the parental love includes the first one. What is the first one? Children love. The second one? Brother-sister love. Number 3? Conjugal love. Then, upon that foundation, the parental love is completed, fulfilled. Therefore, if there is someone who fulfilled the perfected parental love, must have perfected children's love, brother-sister love, conjugal love, unparental everything. In other four loves. The husband and wife, or man and woman, who together fulfilled these four loves, are called the true parents. This is the definition of the true parents. Parents who fulfill this content are called the true parents. This means that true parents are parents who fulfill the purpose of creation. First time in the history of mankind. Then in that sense, we too must become true parents in the future. This is the purpose of our lives. Mission of Messiah will finish very soon, will end very soon. But our true parents will stay as true parents forever. The value of true parents is much more precious than the value of the Messiah. The name of Messiah will disappear. A position of Messiah will end and finish and disappear. But name and the value of true parents will be eternal. Therefore, true parentship must be much more precious than the messiahship. Okay, this is the end of the four great realms of heart. Is there any question? Yeah. Do you mean in terms of Adam and Eve? Because they didn't have true parents in that sense. That's actually to some extent, the physical parents would have helped. But only through the communication with God, there's no other way. Also, some support from the angelic world. Because no substantial true parents are living in this world. You know? In other words, especially children, you're talking about children's love. Children's love, that's almost a similar situation as Adam and Eve. Couldn't find any true parents. That's why angelic world must have helped to some extent. But still, physical parents, in case of and physical family, such a loving family. That's why Father said that through the experience with physical mother, he really understood the parental love was his own testimony. That's why I think situation was much better than, in one sense, than the time of Adam. Okay, so a break and then go into the next, after the break. Actually, there's another aspect, three great kingships or royal familyships, but maybe this time, maybe too much. This will be enough. to digest. Then next topic, the loss of these four realm hearts, the relationship between the four realm hearts and the reality of this our society. Okay, thank you. Now you can erase, but you can't. You can, but you can't.
Next lecture 440, okay, 25 minutes.